Dereck Lively really became a key piece in the Mavericks roster in his rookie year, a legitimate rim protector who is someone that the Mavericks really have missed for a very long time. I'm talking back when Tyson Chandler was on the team. They were out here running Dwight Powell as their starting center, who was very undersized and wasn't the greatest rim protector in the world, but they ran Dwight Powell as their starting center for years. Now, that's no more the case, and the big man position was one of their weakest points for years and years, but actually has become one of their strongest points when they can go from Lively to Gafford and having legit rim protectors that can just swap in for each other. Lively really proved his worth during last year's playoffs, and he had an impact to where if the Mavs didn't have him, I don't think they get past that second round, and they definitely probably wouldn't last 5 games past the Wolves and make it to the finals. Whether if it was on offense or defense, he made an impact. Averaged 8.8 points and 7 rebounds and 1.4 blocks a game last season. Lively isn't your block everything type of center, but rather I'm going to stay grounded and on balance, use my length and verticality to deter shots. He will generate blocks just on weak side rim protection and even recovering when he gets beat, because dude has a 7'7" wingspan with great instincts, but he isn't prioritizing just getting blocks, getting out of position, but just forcing you into a tough shot. The verticality stuff, just not contesting by leaving his feet, is really good from him. Can just wall up arms high and force you into a tough shot. Very mobile, great instincts, timing and feel on when to help and slide down to make a play, contests shots at the rim at times with both hands and gets off the ground pretty quickly that would surprise offensive slashers, just an overly quick leaper. He doesn't really find himself in foul trouble though, and even if he does, it's could just sub in Gafford and they could just manage the time with them. He also has some good recovery skills when beat, not going to give up on a play, but say if he gets beat off the dribble, he works to stay attached and give that effort to get a block from behind. He moves really well as a big, either in drop coverage or at the level of the screen. In drop is where we see more of that rim protection, verticality into play, where he can move well laterally, keep everything in front of him, not allow his man to get behind him, but also not letting the ball handler get a clean shot off, deter shots vertically. When he is more so defending in a perimeter type of scheme, he isn't a switchable defender or can guard the perimeter consistently. He just isn't that explosive of an athlete to do that at a high level. But when he is switched, he doesn't always get completely burned. He can hold his own at times, still gives that fight, and even when he does get beat, the recovery stuff from him are there to make a play. It's best to use him as an interior defender, situations where he has to rotate and move on the perimeter. Even though he gives the effort, just are clunky, but a lot of centers aren't really made to defend the outside like that. And I feel like the Mavericks really do the best scheming that they can to keep him in situations to be closer to the rim as much as possible, even when faced against stretch 5 out centers. There are strength concerns with him, still can fill out his body more. He does get moved by stronger post players or moved by physical slashers who can get into his body. He doesn't have the greatest resistance inside, though he does try to stay disciplined and contest with his length. Still can work on getting stronger, and as a rebounder, again, just much more work on getting stronger, disciplined. He does give up offensive rebounds when he gets out of position or gets moved off balance. Other than that, he does a good job as a rebounder. He is a really good offensive rebounder, averaged 2.5 offensive boards, really is active on that, either just Tyson Chandler smacking the ball out or flying in for a board and kicking it back out. And it's honestly crazy how prior to the Mavericks getting Lively and Gafford, when they made that Kyrie trade, they were a very poor rebounding team. Like, it was bad to the point they would lose games just on getting out rebounded. Like, that would be the sole reason why they lost the game. And they were the worst rebounding team in that 22-23 season, and they completely improved on that area in the 24 season. Just goes to show having good interior centers like Gafford and Lively will do to you. Offensively, he is your typical roll man, lob threat type of guy, playing next to a guy like Luka who generates so much attention and is a gifted passer. Lively just gets a ton of opportunities off of that. Just a play finisher type of guy. He also has shown he can convert or grab passes that aren't really the best, but he makes the best of it and can throw down some mean dunks. Good catch radius from the dunker spot, moving off of rolls or even working in transition. He shot 80% at the rim last season. Majority of his shots are assisted on, whether that be lobs, dump offs, and showing off some touch when he is in open space. Now, there's a conversation with Lively that I really pondered about, and it goes with other centers like him in his archetype. Say in the next 3 years, what would you focus on developing the most with him? A 3-ball in his game to space out the floor so that the stars have much more space to work with, or he works more on his interior game? Lively isn't the best solo isolation type interior threat. The only positive I see is that he does show up a hook shot, but still the touch on that can be here and there. He just doesn't convert layups at a high level. He shot 59% on layups last season. Really needs to work on his touch inside. Also in terms of footwork, staying stable inside and just using his strength, using his body, playing physical, as well as just overall creation inside. That area of his game is pretty raw, and I feel that lack of interior scoring takes away the potential he has as a playmaker slash passer as a big man, which I'll get more into in a little bit. In a perfect world, he would develop both a jumper and inside scoring, but just saying hypothetically, which would you value more from him? There was a moment in the NBA Finals where he hit a corner 3, and it was a moment like, whoa, okay, this dude is hitting a 3 like that consistently from the corner or the wing or above the break, it might unlock something new for this entire team. The amount of centers who can hit that 3-ball with like 3 or more attempts on really good percentage is scarce, but also given Lively's rolling ability and how lethal he is in the short roll, if this dude gets like a go-to move inside or a consistent hook shot and just improves on staying stable inside, I would be much more excited in that. Because Lively is a pretty darn good passer, especially in the short roll, on the move, and watching those playoffs, the most glaring difference between Lively and Gafford was in that area, and Lively was just a quick court processor than Gafford, and for a 20-year-old center, that is insane and amazing. Like, he makes this team think twice about doubling Luka because Lively can just serve as that connector in the offense on those short rolls, or even getting the ball near the free throw line and having to make a play to the shooter or a cutter. Usually it's easier to make decisions stationary, and Lively does that well too, but Lively can literally take 1 or 2 dribbles to sink in the defense and beam off a quick pass when needed. He isn't by any means an elite playmaker, but the court processing is pretty good and can use him as a DHO guy, sometimes can spot cutters from the high post elbow areas. The thing is, if he does become that isolation threat, someone who could put the ball down when getting pressured and getting to the rim, or be a bit plausible in the low post, it can help boost more kick-out playmaking opportunities for him. The more playmakers on the court, the better. Dereck Lively, for how young he is, really showed how much of an impact he can make on the basketball court and how he really helped transform the Mavericks defense to push it into championship level. He is the defensive anchor that they have been waiting years on. That'll wrap up this video. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more NBA breakdowns like these. With all that being said, I'll see you all in the next video.